You guys know that's the sound when EuroAsian Bob strikes again. And he really has struck gold on this one. Let's take a look at this really beautiful Porsche. So no, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill Porsche Carrera. Yeah, there's thousands of those. No. This is a 1974 Porsche Carrera with the 2.7 liter engine. Very rare, very, very special. There's a lot of things and design changes they made in this year that were kind of new to these style of cars. This is a very special car. Now, I have no idea where EuroAsian Bob finds cars like this, really special cars. If I was in the market and I wanted to buy one of these today, I wouldn't even know where to look, and it would probably take me 6 months to find one. And somehow I get texts from him and say, hey, I found this one, and another one, and this and that. I don't know how he does it, guys. He's definitely the guy to go to if you're looking for specialty cars like this. Quit scanning, bring a trailer, and check out EuroAsian Bob. Now, for you Mustang boys out there that think you're going to spend 20 grand and maybe trade a broken console TV that your grandpa had in 1982, no. No. Let me show you something. This is Bring a Trailer, thinking about Bring a Trailer. This is a 74 that just recently sold last November, $206,000. That's right, guys, over $200,000. For one of these cars. So again, no, you're not getting it for 20 grand and a console TV. So what he's going to ask for this car, I have no idea. As soon as we're done with it here, we do have some issues with the front brakes that actually have already been solved. We'll show that here in a minute once we get it up in the air. And there's also something in the engine compartment I'll show you here in a minute. Once we're done with it, it'll go back to his dealership and you can get a hold of him and talk about dollars, talk about price. Now, it's easy to think, you see these on the road and say, man, that car, that's only a $20,000, $30,000 car. In the current economic climate we're in, a car is worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. And that sets the standard now for what that car is worth. It's not worth what you think it should be worth. It's worth what somebody is willing to pay. So let's take a look in the engine bay and check out what we did in there. And then we'll take a look around it. So as you can see here on the cooling grill, this ventilation grill, 2.7, that is the engine size for this 1974 Carrera. Let's go ahead and open the bonnet, the rear hood, whatever you want to call it. And there is our 2.7 liter engine, roughly 175 horsepower, 175 pounds of torque. And by today's standards, that's not a lot of power. But these cars back then weren't known to be 0 to 60 monsters. Where they shine is in handling. They handle very, very well. One of the issues that EuroAsian Bob was having with this is after you would park it and go inside and go shopping and come back out, it would have very long cranking times. I know from experience with the Bosch Jetronic systems, that's always going to be a fuel accumulator, which is this little silver cylinder shaped thing that has some fuel lines going to it. That is basically a spring-loaded diaphragm that provides pressure to the system, and when they go bad it causes those issues. We did replace it and the problem went away. You can see that the oil change has been recently done, and it won't need to be done until 1/8 of 2023 or at those miles. As you can see, this is an air-cooled engine. There's a giant fan here, and behind here is actually the alternator. And it pulls air in, and this green shroud here, it directs the airflow over the cooling fins of the engine, just like a motorcycle. An air-cooled motorcycle, basically. Here's our distributor, vacuum advance. Old school technology, but it works very well. And here's our ignition coil for it. These are very easy to work on as far as getting to some of the items. As you can see, a little gray shroud back behind the green shroud, it actually covers over an oil cooler back there, an oil cooler area. And there's 3 things that typically go bad. There is actually a thermostat, an oil thermostat. There is a sensor back there, and there's a few other items that typically can go bad and leak oil all over the floor. This one, luckily, is not doing that. Those items I just mentioned in that area are very difficult to get to. They can be very time consuming and very hard to do. If you look behind me, there's actually an 80s Porsche Carrera that has had that work done to it, and it was very tough. But we got it done. It's here for some tire issues and some other issues. It looks just like this one, but it is not special like this one. Let's go ahead and take a look around the car. There's an iconic tail end of an air-cooled Porsche 911 with the beautiful wheels. Very nice paint on this one. Here we have the glass lenses up here, where you can remove the glass separate from the bulb in there. Everything's looking good up here. There is a few little speckles here in the paint. Nothing serious. I think there's been a repaint on this, is what EuroAsian Bob mentioned to me. As we go down this side, again, more beautiful wheels, no damage, no rust, nothing majorly wrong at all. Let's take a look inside the interior and see what we see there.
Okay, ladies and gents, here we are as always at the dash, and look at this. It says 53,000 miles. That's it, and I think that's probably accurate. Not 153 or 253. With this kind of condition, I bet it's at 53,000. Lots of different controls up here that we can monitor. As we had in 1974, there was no digital dashes, so all the gauges had to be represented individually by themselves. You will see that the dash is a black Alcantara with red stitching. That is looking quite amazing. As we move down, a lot of stock things. Does look like it's missing the cigarette lighter, but that's not a problem in my world in the slightest capacity. It does have a Blaupunkt radio, which is quite original for this car. And again, some very simple and classic design on our HVA system with the horizontal sliders. As we move down, we can see that the carpet's in immaculate shape. It does have on the floor the 5-speed, just standard stock shifter. As we move to our seats, you will see that they are nice black leather. Got some nice grippy bolster on the side to keep you in your chair as you're drifting around corners in this little guy. On the door cards, it is kind of a two-tone, kind of a gray and a darker gray kind of coloring on there, which is in perfect shape as well. As we move to the back seat, well, not really back seat, there is seats there, they are lowered, but we can see in amazing shape as well. And as we slide up, we'll see that the headliner, as the rest of the car, is in pristine shape, and it's original. There's no, sagging, no tears, no marks. Nobody was up there touching it with Cheeto fingers or after they just finished their chocolate bar. No, looking fabulous. As we take one last look here at that steering wheel, it does have a nice steering wheel that is leather covered, and it feels really good. It feels like you could go, as the speedometer says, 150 in this thing. Anyway, this thing's looking just awesome. I am excited to see what it looks like underneath. Let's get this in the air.
So as you heard, it started right up. We got the accumulator issue taken care of, pulled it forward. This thing sounds very good. It almost sounds Ferrari-ish to me. It's like, wow, it sounds great. But let's find out what it looks like on the underneath. Let's get this thing in the air. So just like I said a minute ago, we did do the front brake rotors on this. It had some warpage going on, causing some issues, but let's take a look underneath and see what else we find. Well, no radiator here, Mrs. Wizard.
No, the Porsches are not known to put their engines up here.
It does have the green Bilstein shocks up front, and they're nice and dry. There's our new rotors we put on. Nice smooth braking now. Nothing loose. The pads are very thick. There's no spring on these like a coil spring like you would think. There's an adjustment here, and it's a torsion bar style spring up front. So you won't see a spring like you would think. In this side we got a new rotor, and Nothing loose there. Nothing here but a floor pan. It's got a nice thick coating on it. Looks like a few little scrapes from, who knows, years past. Something was in the road and scraped some of the coating there, but again, it's not rusting. Here we're back to the transaxle. Kind of like a Volkswagen Beetle. It's the same style, same setup, same idea anyway. There's our control arm, some nice Bilstein shocks. Let's check the brakes here, nice and thick. Nothing loose there. CV boots are good. Everything's good there. Nice Bilstein shocks. Nothing loose. Here, this sheet metal here that you're looking at is actually the heater. When it's cold outside and you want to warm up the cabin, if you look up here, there's little levers inside the cabin you can operate to let heat into the interior, also like a Volkswagen Beetle. There's a tiny bit of seepage here, nothing serious, nothing big going on, nothing warranting a big teardown. All these tubes, which are the drain tubes for the heads, are nice and dry. It does have a Dankst muffler here. Exhaust is all intact, in good shape. Nothing's been beat up or wrecked or torn up on here. Here's our oil reservoir. That's where the oil is. It's just a dry sump system. We'll check these tires real quick. Michelin Pilots. And they're from 2021, 27 week of 2021, so they are very new, very nice. I didn't really see much to speak of under there, Mrs. Wizard.
No, it's looking really clean for as old as this thing is. This is great shape.
Very nice. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the ground. So I wanted to thank EuroAsian Bob for bringing this by and letting us fix a few things and get it ready for sale and film it. It is very beautiful. And as you guys just saw, the underneath is just as beautiful as the top side of this car. Just like the Subaru on Hoovie's Garage that you saw, it looked pretty nice, but then we got underneath, it was a disaster. That is not the case here. This is the real deal, the 74 Porsche 911 Carrera, and it is really, really nice. Again, if you're interested in buying it, you can get a hold of EuroAsian Bob in the link below. If he keeps bringing stuff like this, it's really exciting. It just keeps getting better all the time. So if you're curious what kind of tools Daniel's son used to work on this, because he was the one that did the work, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because I'm sure EuroAsian Bob has more tricks up his sleeve, some really crazy cars that he's bought. Thanks for watching.